If you need to sell a property right now, it is really two different markets. The first market is the freehold property, a freehold property being the townhouse, a semi-detached, or a detached home. That market is fairly strong because people need roofs over heads to live in. Another area that's strong is the larger luxury condo. And that market is strong because, again, people need roofs over heads. People are looking to live in those units. Downsizers, they're not impacted by the general economic conditions, cash buyers, or a substantial amount of money putting down on the property. Those markets are doing fine. Now, the other market is the investment condo market. Now, that market is not doing well. Whenever I talk to clients, I'm like, there's two different categories of sellers right now. But only one of those categories, when you're in that investment grade condo area, is going to sell the property. There's the seller that wants to sell their property, and then there's a seller that needs to sell their property. The seller that needs to sell their property will sell their property. The seller that wants to sell their property is not going to sell. Why isn't their property not going to sell? Because we are in a buyer's market, the person that wants to sell their property will not go to the price point that they need to go to get the property sold. The person that needs to sell the property will reduce the price point to a price point that in the market that will get the property sold. Now, there are some things you can do from a non-monetary perspective, i.e. pricing, to help get your property sold. So number one, if your property is tenanted, that is also going to impact your ability to sell. Can the property sell with a tenant in place? Absolutely. It's just going to be selling for a lower price than a property that does not have a tenant in place in the property. So one thing you can do is discuss with your tenants that, hey, in a few months, I may be looking to sell my property, and start the conversation if they want to go look for another property to lease out. So that's a big thing that you can do to help generate more interest in your property. But the key thing because we are in a buyer's market, the market is very sensitive to pricing, and you're going to need to lead the market in regards to your pricing. If you price it correctly, the property will sell. But you have to have a need to sell mindset, not a want to sell mindset. And I will say, I have sold 2 properties this year myself, my own personal portfolio. Did I get the pricing that I wanted? No, I didn't get the pricing that I wanted, but I put it at the pricing to get the properties sold. So the key thing is as long as you can put it at the pricing that you can get the property sold at, the property will sell. But if you list it high and test the market to see what's going to happen, property is going to sit there and no one's going to look at it.